Hi guys, how we doing today? Today's gonna be your first demo on throwing on the wheel. Lots of things to talk about. We're gonna focus mainly today, the first couple times around the wheel, all I want you to do is try to center the clay. I'm not concerned about you trying to make a vessel the first time you're out here. So simply watch how I center the clay. Now I'm probably gonna do a couple of steps that you're not gonna be able to do right now. So I don't want you to freak out when I'm doing something. You're like, how am I gonna do that? You can't right now. I understand that. So when I get to a point where I'm doing something that may be a little more advanced than what you're able to do right now, I'm gonna tell you, you don't have to do this. But I do it because it's the way I throw on the wheel. This is our potter's wheel. Make sure on the side it's in reverse. We throw in reverse. That's going to make the wheel rotate counterclockwise. These are great wheels. They're whisper wheels. It has a floating head, so as long as I don't engage the foot control, I can use this like a banding wheel and I can rotate it freely. Once I engage the wheel, then it's going to run counterclockwise on me, and that's the way we want to go. I have to attach a bat to the wheel head so that I can easily remove my work while I'm constructing. See, you only have a short amount of time in here. You got to get going, take it off, cover it up, put it on your shelf, and then get it back out the next day for continued work. I'm gonna take a small piece of clay and I'm attaching that to the pins that are on the wheel, and I'm taking other pieces of clay and putting them on the side. So I should have a north, south, east, west chunk of clay. I take my bat and I'm going to set my bat on the pin hose. I like to tap it in place to make sure it's firmly attached. The reason we're doing that is because a lot of our bats are older and the hose have been worn out, and if you don't attach it down, when you go to center, the bat's going to go click, 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 and it's going to move and it's going to drive you nuts. It does me, so we do that. Also, always get a cloth towel for yourself to keep your hands clean. And I like to just come by one time and go against there and make sure my bat is clean and everything is attached well. I'm taking 1.5 pounds of clay. I've already wedged this clay. I'm going to show you in class how to wedge. You're only going to be throwing on the wheel in the studio here at school, except for the couple of guys who have wheels at home. Congratulations, and thank you, Mom and Dad, for taking care of that. So I've got 1.5 pounds of clay. I've wedged it, my flat bottom. I'm going to tap the edges. I want the bottom of this piece to have a little bit of curve to it, so when I attach it there, it attaches flat. If I start with a piece that's cupped on the bottom and I throw it down, it might leave an air pocket where it's attached to the wheel. So make sure this is convex and not concave when I toss it down. I put it firmly in place and I'm going to tap it to center. I do this all dry right now. Once I've got it tapped to center, I'm going to rotate it and see how close I am. I'm off, but I'm off. I've got my sponge in my bucket. I've only filled my water bucket up to about right here. You don't need a ton of water. Don't give your clay a bath. We're just trying to keep it moist so our hands slide freely as we're throwing. I'm going to add a little bit of water to my piece. I'm going to make sure my hands are moist. And now I'm going to center the clay. Here's how I do it. I'm never going to say the way I do it is the right way. It's just the way I do it. If you watch Miss Jaffe throw, she's going to center differently than me. I'm going to encourage you to go to YouTube and just look up centering clay on the wheel and watch how other people center clay. You do not have to do it my way, but you have to get your clay centered. Find a way that's comfortable for you. You may come across a hybrid version of what we're doing. So when I do it, I make sure my elbows are firmly planted on my knees. I do not want to have floating elbows. It's hard to control it if my elbows aren't tucked. I call it the T-Rex. I'm going to tuck my elbows into my ribs. I'm going to tuck them down to my legs, and I'm going to lay on top of the clay. I'm looking straight down on the clay here. I overlap my hands, put them behind the clay. I'm going to make an X out of my thumb. I'm going to pull towards my gut, push in with my heels, press down real heavy, and center the clay. It looks like this. I didn't say this. Do not touch the clay until the wheel is rolling. When the wheel spins, then put your hands on. One more thing, I need to backtrack. One more thing. This comes apart. See how that comes apart? Where it's gapped here and here, we want that on the sides. If it leaks, I want it to leak on my foot and not leak on my crotch. It's happened before, and then you walk around the rest of the day and people think you peed yourself. Not very good for high school. So again, moist hands, moist clay, not saturated, just moist. Overlap hands, thumb in an X, elbows locked in, and I center on as high speed as I can. I keep my hands in place. I make the clay go to my hands. It may dry your hands out, and if it does, I just dip my hand in the bucket and get it moist again. So I have pressed down, pressed in, and my clay is starting to get centered. Some of you, it's going to take a week to get this far. And some of you are going to ask, hey, is my clay centered? And here's what I'm always going to say. If that's the back tire of your car and you're driving down an expressway, is it a smooth ride? If there's any type of wobble in here now, it's going to be detrimental to the process later. Get it centered. Centering is the most important process in throwing on the wheel. Get your clay centered. I'm centered. I'm really close to perfectly centered. I've got a little slight wobble, but I'm not too concerned about it. Now the next step I'm going to do is what I do. You do not have to do this. You can go straight from here. But I like to do what's called wheel wedging. Try this later on. Don't start off with this technique. But this technique, I'm going to push it with my heels and make this clay come up, then I'm going to push it back down. It's just wedging the clay on the wheel. So I press it in, and I push it back down. I am also real big on cleanliness. Make sure you keep your workspace clean. You should keep your hands wiped down, your wheel wiped down, so you see what you're working on. That's centering. That's all I want you to do. If you get to this point and you center it quickly in a class period, knock it out of center. Center it again. Knock it out of center, center it again. Again, centering is the most important thing. Now, seeing I've got a piece centered, I might as well throw something, huh? We'll talk you through that part later. Focus on centering. First person to watch the video and respond back to me in an email, email me. First person, this is yours. See ya.